What's up, guys? 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲 Whitmore here. I'm the owner of Strategic Test Prep, and I've been a test prep instructor for over 15 years now. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of students. I consistently score in the 1500s, and I show my students how to do the same. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, I'm so glad to have you back. This is part of my digital SAT series. As you guys know, we have a new test coming out starting in March. And I've been doing lots of research on the digital SAT, and I can tell you guys this. The math is pretty much the same as the paper SAT, but the English is so crazy different. There's so many new things. So in this video, I'm going to give you key strategies that I think are going to help you score your best yet on the digital SAT English sections. Now, I'm curious, what are the hardest types of questions for you guys on the English section? I'd really love to hear, what you're struggling with. It'll help me create future videos and know how to help you guys the best. So comment below and let me know how you're doing on the digital SAT English sections and what you really need help with. Also, if you are taking the digital SAT this year and you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, what is wrong with you? Just hit that subscribe button right now because I'm going to be coming out with videos every week with tips, tricks, and strategies to help you get ready for this test, and you don't want to miss out. This video is brought to you by Preply, the new digital SAT prep app that's coming out at the end of February. Because guys, let's face it, there's not enough practice questions to go off of for this new digital SAT. All right, guys, so let's get into the video. Now, the first type of question that I'm seeing a lot of is brand new to the digital SAT. They weren't really testing this specifically on the paper test. It is a punctuation question with a transition right next to it. Okay, guys, so I'm in an example. This is a digital SAT question, and as you can see, I've got basically different punctuation marks. They provided me with semicolons and commas. So my first order of business is I need to figure out where the complete sentences are. So it looks like they have the word antiquity to finish this off. I'm not going to worry about the transition word yet. I'm going to leave that off. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little line there to separate the first part from the second part. Let's figure out what our complete sentences are. They were not the first in England to adopt the literary modes of classical antiquity. Okay, is that a complete sentence? Well, there's three things you need for a sentence to be complete. You need a subject. They is the subject. You need a verb. Were is the verb here. And you need a complete thought. Not the first in England to adopt the literary modes of classical antiquity. That's a complete thought, because when I read that, I'm not going, huh? Or scratching my head wondering what they're trying to say. I don't feel like they're leaving me hanging, basically. So we have a complete sentence on the first side. Now let's figure out the second side. So the second side says, some of the most prominent figures of the earlier Renaissance period were also influenced by ancient Greek and Roman literature. That sounds complete to me. I've got a subject, some. I've got were is my verb, because all that stuff after the of is just describing more about the subject, some. And then I have the rest of the sentence. I'm not going, huh? What's going on? So if I have two complete sentences, I know I need a semicolon to separate those. I'm going to get rid of A and B. Okay, part one of this type of question is done. Part two, now we need to figure out where does the however go. Let's go ahead and just entertain D and put however after the antiquity. Now, however is a contrast word, which means the two parts would go against each other. So if I read the first part and then I read the second part and I feel like they go against each other, however should start the second part. They were not the first in England to adopt the literary modes of classical antiquity. Some of the most prominent figures of the earlier Renaissance period were also influenced by ancient Greek and Roman literature. Those two sentences actually support each other. They're not going against each other. That means I need to take the contrast transition and put it at the end of antiquity because it probably contrasts with the sentence before it. So I'm going to pick C. Okay, guys, the second type of question are the note-taking questions. This is brand new to the digital SAT. There's none of this on the paper test. But I've got good news for you guys. These are super easy to do. Don't read the notes. You don't have to read the bullet points. Just go straight to the question and see what the student wants. So it says the student wants to emphasize a difference in the origins of the two words. Okay, I'm just going to look for an answer choice that talks about the difference in the origins. Oh my gosh, in A, it talks about 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲 being of Anglo-French origin, whereas 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲, oh my gosh, I probably just butchered that. 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲? If you know how to pronounce that, comment below. It derives from ancient Greek. Well, that's talking about the origins right there. I'm pretty confident it's A. I would hold that and read B, C, and D. What you'll realize is B, C, and D have nothing to do with the origins of the word, so the correct answer is A. All right, so your third type of question is a subject-verb agreement, and there's a really important strategy for these. Now, first you have to be able to know that you're on a subject-verb agreement question. They're not going to label that for you on the digital SAT. What they will do is they'll take a bunch of standard English convention questions, which are your grammar questions, and they'll put them together in a row. You'll have a bunch in section 1 from like number 22 to number 30, and then you'll have another group in section 2 that's not as large, but it'll be from like number 44 to 50. They'll all be in a row. So when you get to a question that is asking about the conventions of standard English and you have verb tenses as your answer choices, you are probably on a subject-verb agreement question. There's two ways you can tackle this. First, you can actually just look at the answer choices and pick the one that's different than the others as far as how it's being conjugated. I can't think of a better word, but anyways. For instance, if I took the plural word they, I could say they are, I could say they were, and I could say they have been. But I can't say they is. So since I can't say they is and the other three are for the same tense, the plural tense, I'm going to go with the one that's different, and I'm going to pick B. Chances are the subject is singular and needs an is. Now, if you want to be super sure, when you go up into the sentence, you can pinpoint the subject. So it says, researchers studying the terracotta army, the thousands of life-size statues of warriors found interred near the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang of China, were shocked to realize that the shape of each statue's ears, like the shape of each person's ears, blank unique. Well, what's unique? That's the question, because that's going to be the subject. We're talking about the shape that's unique. So the shape of each statue's ears is just extra information describing more about the shape. And then all of this in between the two commas is also extra information. We can get rid of that. Now we're going to have the subject right next to the verb. The shape is unique. Sure enough, it's a single subject just like I thought. So let the answer choices guide you and pick the one that's different on those. All right, the fourth type of question I want to cover today is comma placement. Now, comma placement either goes really well for students or is really difficult for students. So your main strategy with comma placement is to basically start with answer choice A and X out any commas, pretend they're not there. So I'm going to just cross this comma out. And then you just want to put it into the sentence and read it to hear where you pause. So if you hear a pause somewhere, naturally, that's probably where the commas need to go. Here's my suggestion for you. You do not want to read too quickly and steamroll through this because you're going to miss the pauses. So don't read like this. In a pivotal 2007 article, plant cell biologist 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲 showed that lipid molecules called phosphatidylate. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? Slow down so you can listen to where you pause. So let me read it and see if you can hear where the pause is. In a pivotal 2007 article, plant cell biologist 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲 showed that lipid molecules. Now, as you can see, I read right through that with no pauses. And this is because the name or the subject, 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲, is introduced after the description. So if you have a description and then a name, you can probably read right through it without pausing. However, if I put 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲's name first and then wanted to describe more about her, I would need the description to go between two commas. For instance, if I said 𝗙𝗿𝗲𝗲, a biologist in the field of blank, see how I have to pause there? So description then subject, no pause, subject, description, commas, you need to pause. So anyways, the answer to that one is A. All right, guys, I really hope that helped you today. Listen, if you like this video and you watched all the way to the end, you better hit that like button right now. What are you waiting for? Good luck on your digital SAT. I'll see you guys again soon. Happy prepping.